Welcome into AZ Audibles. Haley Stasiak, Jordan Ham, and Eric Sorensen here. We're officially closing the book on 2017 as signing day has wrapped up. And looking ahead to 2018, let's talk about the biggest holes that are going to need to be filled.
Out at Cactus, Demarie Norris graduates one of the most ultra-productive running backs in recent history in the West Valley. Just last year, 2,600 total yards, 36 touchdowns. The person that's going to look to replace him is Anthony Flores. He's a sophomore this year, going to be a junior, and believe it or not, he was really productive. Double-digit touchdowns as a sophomore with 10, and also close to 800 rushing yards. With new coach Joe Ortiz coming over from Higley and running that spread offense, you know that Flores is going to get his opportunity to get his hands on the ball and probably could even double his input from last year.
The Centennial backfield is definitely going to need to be filled with Zidane Thomas and Alex Escobar graduating. This is a strength in the run game that the Coyotes have. Richard Taylor obviously knows how to run the ball.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting how they fill those two massive holes coming into 2018.
And it seems like every single year it's, okay, they had a huge playmaker, the Coyotes did. How are they going to do it? And they just have another guy step right in and is ultra productive. So it'll be interesting to see. For me, it's two receivers that really jump out to me. First one, Solomon Enos. Just so productive over at North Canyon as a receiver, but he was also in special teams. He's also played defense. It seemed like he took off 5 plays all season. Like, he was always out on the field and did so much for the Rattlers. And then on the other side over at Chandler, Gunnar Romney. This guy missed 4 games due to injury, and he had 1,600 yards. Like, just such a crisp route runner. I saw him at the opening go up against the best of the best, and he contributed and did so well, really showed what he can do. Both of them are going to the state of Utah. Solomon Enos will be playing for the Utes, and then Gunnar Romney playing for BYU. So it could be fun to see them go head-to-head over the next couple of years in college.
And I think the scary thing about both those players, Jordan, is I think their best football is still ahead of them.
Oh, definitely.
With Enos and Romney, they're just scratching the surface of the type of potential they have to play at the next level.
Definitely.
In 2018, we're going to see a lot of talent at the quarterback position. It seems like we always talk about this position specifically and how great it is in the state of Arizona. And the 2019 class is loaded. Spencer Rattler, Gunnar Cruz, Jacob Conover. Who are some other guys that we should be keeping an eye on?
I really like Spencer Brash over at Higley. He's a guy that is definitely a dual threat. And even when he was battling for the job going into last season, Eddie Zuby told me if he didn't get the starting quarterback job, he was probably going to be the free safety. So that's the type of athlete we're talking about. He takes great care of the football. He has a ton of weapons around him, and that always helps. But he also rushed for over 800 yards, and he's just a load to bring down. He is able to break tackles. He's not afraid to take a hit and even dole some hits out himself. So he's a guy that in his second year, I'm looking forward to seeing how he takes steps in his progressions.
Let's stay in the Southeast Valley and let's go to Queen Creek. Devin Larson, a 2-year starter, 500 pass attempts, only 12 interceptions the last 2 seasons. He's a guy that's been popping up on Division I radars. He's 6'5", 210 pounds. And the thing that's interesting about him is that head coach Travis Sherman and his staff sort of retooled their once run-heavy offense to take advantage of Larson's skill set. The Bulldogs are making the jump from 5A to 6A. And speaking of great quarterbacks, they're going to be taking on Chandler and Mr. Conover in week 2. I'm really interested to see how Larson continues to progress going into his senior year.
Kedon Slovis out of Desert Mountain. Despite losing 2 key wide receivers, they're going to have plenty of guys that in the receiving corps have gotten reps. He's a big body with a huge arm, only had 5 interceptions last season, and he can really take care of the ball. Last season was his first year, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how he develops in the spring and comes out in 2018 and his senior season and shows out.
Him and Josh Walker, their leading receiver, really teamed up and were really tough to stop last year. Walker is graduating, but they also have Max Walker, no relation, but he's a slot guy who's really good, and Brandon Cron, who's a tight end, wide receiver kind of hybrid, and he wears number 81, and if you wear number 81 at Desert Mountain, you're probably in pretty good company with Mark Andrews and Cade Warner. So those are 2 guys that I think really could help Slovis in his second year as a starter.
That's what we've got for you this week on AZ Audibles. Be sure to keep it on sports360az.com for all of your high school football coverage. We'll see you next time.